Good evening, welcome to DecodedSeries.com. This is a special series called Decoded Biblical Series, and this is part 4. The 7 days of creation. According to the Bible, God created everything, including the universe, in 7 days, 6,000 years ago. Inclusive of this creation was man. When you read this creation story, you will notice how God gets a little confused. It is obvious the author, God, was ignorant of what existed beyond earth. This highlights the author lacked advanced knowledge. He, she, was probably wise for that period of time, but as time evolved, so did methods of scientific evidence. To start with, God had oceans raging in darkness while he moved over this water. He separated light from darkness without the consideration of the sun and moon orbiting to cause this effect. On the second day, he divided the water to keep it in 2 places, with a dome, calling it a sky. Then he let the earth produce all kinds of plants on the 3rd day. On the 4th day, God separated day from night for the days, years, and religious festivals, making it the 2nd time God separated day from night. He then made the 2 larger lights, the sun, to rule over the day and the moon over the night. God slips up here because the moon does not produce light. The light seen from the moon is the reflection of the sun. Also, he claims he made the stars in the sky to shine on the earth, to separate light from darkness. And as many people know, our ancestors thought earth was the center of the universe, much like they thought the earth was flat. God moves on to the 5th day, and he filled the water with many kinds of living beings, and the air with birds, and told them to increase in number. God made human beings on the 6th day, and said they will be like us, and resemble us. I don't know who the us is, but it sounds like there was more than one God. These us gods said man will have power over all animals. On the 6th day, this God created males and females and told them to have children. They were told they would live over the earth and bring it under their control. He put them in charge of all animals. He provided all kinds of food to eat. Humans have certainly done their best, as human beings have become the most hostile species in this world. We dominate, engage in acts of war, and manipulate one another, seeking domination. We imprison our own kind as well as other creatures we breed for food. We murder other innocent species and are voluntarily destroying our land. I must ask, are we really as civilized as we believe? Thanks to God's influence, we are not. According to the Bible, the whole universe was completed by the 7th day. God made it a day of rest because he had completed his creation. The biblical God dates back around 6,000 years and falls short by millions of years of Earth's actual existence. Therefore, it seems reasonable to question whether God could actually be an invader of an already existing humanity. It is also worth considering the biblical creation may have been the beginning of a hostile attack for ultimate control of mankind, rather like the child molester who offers candy and treats to entice his victim, and then savagely rapes and murders. After all, history is full of God-related wars. And this is what haunts me. Has mankind placed their trust in an intruder parading as the creator named God? This book will show evidence God's creation of control, worship, war, and hostility was started after the universe and mankind had already commenced, and that God is an impostor. Much of mankind have been heavily influenced by ancient documents written by an early society. We must remember, just because a fantasy or a perception was recorded thousands of years ago, it doesn't necessarily make it correct. When you take the contents of the Bible in its full context, it clearly exposes the dangers caused by the corruption of an invading God, pretending to be the creator. It is clear God created an invasion and infiltration upon earth and claimed our planet as his own.
Okay. So you think it was a deliberate you think it was the author thinks it was a specific entity and not something that arose out of a desire in men to believe in a God. The author seems to think there was an actual occurrence, an actual
I think it can actually go.
civilization.
I think the author's actually left that open to a
Okay.
certain extent, simply because it said earlier that the idea of alien could be, an interdimensional thing. It could be outer space. It could be somebody here on this earth that could have done all of this. And secondly, the author does point out that the gods relate to themselves as us. So
Yes,
already,
yes,
the
I've heard
gods
that
have
before.
already specifically said that they created males and females to be like us. So there was a plural thing there. So I don't think the author's actually saying here that categorically this was one person that became dominant and God, but there is a leeway. I think the overall message here is that the whole idea of God, wherever it came from, is an addition to humanity. It's not the origin of
But
humanity.
it's not a natural occurrence of a society wanting to believe in something other. It's a bastardized remembrance of an occurrence that happened.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I think that's what it is. I think that the doors are quite open on this. The theme of it seems to be running that because God's history can be dated,
Sure.
that
Okay.
because it is dated, it is not our origin. So therefore, someone elevated an idea as a dominant figurehead
Sure.
for a civilization back 6,000 years ago, convincing them that they were created by this figurehead. And this figurehead could be more than one person, and it could have commenced or originated from anywhere. But definitely something occurred. And definitely something did occur, because the idea of God is saturated in our society today. So whether the actual person of God actually exists today is not a question. It's the concept of God does exist today.
Sure, sure.
That's the whole thing. The concept of God, the idea of God actually exists today. So it did create a power, and this power was created from the Bible, which relates back to the time of 6,000 years ago during particularly the Egyptian era.
Sure.
So they're not disputing that does God exist, but the concept, the idea of God absolutely does exist.
Of course. Yes.
What the challenge here is its authenticity
Mm-hmm.
to the claims God has made. That's the important point that's being made here.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us for this part, and please join us for the next part of the series, which then goes into chapter 2, talking about the Garden of Eden. Thank you.